So who am I and what do I do? I've been posting more frequently, and because of that, people will ask like who I am, what I do, and things like that. Like, not common, but it's the occasional comment, especially with me posting more frequently. I've been seeing those more over rather than like over the last couple months to a year. Right. But because of that, I figured, you know what, I could talk about myself on a different aspect, tell who I am, what I do, what my background is, as well as like the state of the channel and things, because all these things are intertwined. So because of that, let's just get right into it. So who I am is I'm a person that works in media and as a photographer and videographer, right? And I previously was a high school dropout. I went back to high school, got my diploma, then went off to community college and university, and I got my degree, right? And I got into photo and video when I went back into high school. So previously, like I said, I was a dropout. I dropped out at 15, officially at 16. And I just had a lot going on in my life mentally and everything. I went through a depressive phase and a bunch of other stuff. And like I said, my household was toxic. My mom, not the worst person, but not the greatest person either. Like, she obviously kept a roof on her head for the most part until she eventually lost that. But she also was like just somebody who slowly and incrementally like snowballed into just being very self-destructive and stuff. And we never really had the greatest relationship to begin with. And like things just continued to get worse and get worse and get worse. Right. And part of the things I was going through at home, but also not at home, put me through a depressive phase and other things. And I just didn't want to go to school anymore. That, and the school I was at wasn't really a great school. Its school system was at Trenton High system and Trenton High School system, education system. I was like, damn, oh no, I'm missing a word, which is ironic to what I'm about to say next, right? And I was a pretty intelligent kid, even though I just stumbled my words crazy right there. And because of that, I didn't really feel the need to apply myself. Like, I was already skipping school back in middle school when I still lived down in Burlington, my great grandparents' house, even though both of them were like dead at that time. However, once I went up to Trenton, it was over for me. I was like, I don't need to be here. This is dumb. I'm not learning anything, right? I didn't feel the need to apply myself, so I just stopped going to school. Stopped doing everything, and then obviously went through a depressive phase and just dropped out. And my mom couldn't really do much about it. She didn't know what to do, obviously, because she had her own issues, hence the reason why she kind of like snowballed into being self-destructive. It was just like a cocktail of dysfunction. But when I went back to high school, I was 18 going on 19, and that's when I met my mentor. Actually, both my mentors. Well, one's really my mentor, the other isn't really, but she played a role in me like going into photography. So I have to include her in some way. I call her like a co-mentor, or like an influential. There we go, an influential person. There we go. So when I went back to high school, actually, let me stop there. When I was before I went back to high school, I was always interested in art and art related stuff. Like, I always liked creative media. Always wondered like how things were made. Like, how did they record that? How did they edit that? How did they compose that? How did they shoot that? Like with a camera and stuff. Like, I was always interested in that and just never really knew how to learn it. Right. And I was also always interested in video editing and things. So since we always had a computer, I'll give my mom that. We definitely always had a computer, unlike some of our peers. I always had access to programs like Photoshop, Vegas, back when Sony had it, and other things. Now, how did I pay for that? Well, we'll never know, but I always had access to it. And because of that, and YouTube, which I've had this channel since 2006, I was using that, forums and other things, like to learn on video editing and be a video editor and how to use Photoshop and yada 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 yada. Because like I said, I was always interested in art. In fact, back in middle school, I got an award for a cup I made. So this was back at Burlington. So we had an actual art department that had a kiln and everything, and we made some cups out of pottery clay. And when you mold it, I don't remember what that process is called, but I won it not because of the cup was very much looked like somebody in middle school not really knowing how to like fine tune their design, at least, you know, molding it, as much as it was for how I painted it, because I made it like the sky. So I used turquoise and white, and I just painted it incredibly well, because I knew it was like, all right, this color is going to work with this, blah 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 blah. Like I had a good fundamental concept of color theory, and so when it came out, it was beautiful. It was amazingly beautiful. And then of course my sister broke it, because she was 7 years younger than me, and you know what siblings do, right? As well as in middle school, I got into art as well. I had a keyboarding class, and you know, started playing piano. So, and just keeping this part of the story short, I was always into, you know, the arts, more into that than I was sports and other stuff, even though I did like sports. So fast forwarding, I go back to high school and I meet my mentors. My mentor, I'm an influential person, and my mentor, we'll call him Mr. Francis. Mr. Francis had a TV production class, and I was forced to take that class. And I went in there like, oh, we're going to talk about editing and other stuff. I already know how to do things. I already know about storyboarding, blah, 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 blah. This is a waste of my time, you know, because I'm kind of an arrogant person. Was more then than I am now, but I still very much have an ego. Let me know, especially because of the more confrontational aspect of me, and being somebody in the sports and athletic, and you know, so you already know how we are playing football and stuff. You know, you got that chip on your shoulder. But I went in there and all cocky and things, yada, yada, yada. And since this is an alternative school, we have like a 30% graduation rate. And I say that to say it was like 25 to 30 people in the beginning. At the end, there's like 5 of us left. And I go in from being super cocky, I know what I'm doing and everything, to, hey, Mr. Francis, where are you going? Yo, you going here? Yo, take me with you. Take me where you here. Take me with you there. Like I basically became his shadow. Went everywhere he went, and pretty much like forced myself. I impulsively latched myself onto him, and he took me along with him, because obviously he's like, you know, I can't reach out to everybody, but if I get, you know, change one person or be influential in one person, you know, then I did my job. There's a conversation like me and him had when he was just talking about being a teacher and stuff, and at least for that semester, that year, I was that one that he helped change, because I learned things in that TV production class. And like I said, I already had a background in video editing and the arts, you know, on a hobbyist side, obviously, but because it was television production, we learned the proper way, you know, learning how, because we had actually a TV studio in that school. So learning, you know, how to operate the cameras, you know, learning how to do the control board, as well as editing. We edited in Final Cut Pro, and obviously I already loved editing. So those things, you know, were similar to my interests. They coincided with my interests, and I just naturally, you know, adapted to that, you know, took a leaning to that. And he also did things on the side. So he did, like he did and still does the video for Trenton High's football. You know, he'll do the video recording. Damn, I literally can't talk today. He would record the videos for the football team, and I would go with him, and then he would do things on the side, like record events for groups and organizations that wanted video work done. Obviously, these are paying jobs, and of course, I went with him. Like, and other times, because I was basically his assistant, and for helping like put together, break down, as well as if we had 2 cameras, being, you know, the second camera op, sometimes being the first op, while he like did other things. While also, like, if he had a job that he couldn't do or just didn't want to do, you know, he would send me there, like using his equipment and whatnot. So I basically became, while getting my diploma, because my whole mindset was, when I went there, I'm gonna get in and get out. I'm gonna get all my stuff, get in and get out. And I got all 120 credits, because I had 0 credits because I missed so much school. I got all those in 2.5 years. Like, I was determined, I'm gonna get in and get the hell out. Right. But while I was doing that, I was with him. So I became more serious into like doing video stuff and just everything that is related to that, because I got super interested in it. Meanwhile, simultaneously, I had a digital manipulation class, and I already knew how to use Photoshop and everything, because of, you know, somehow I had access to it because I paid for it, even though I was always broke. And we had Miss Smith, who was teaching that class, and Miss Smith is let me rephrase it because I'm stumbling on more. Miss Smith is into photography, still is, right? So that's why we had a digital manipulation class. And with that class, since this is once again an alternative school, so you have a lot of people who might be dropouts or former dropouts or got sent there for like performance related reasons from the other schools in the district. So what I'm trying to say is a lot of people there didn't have computers, and if they did, they weren't really interested in that stuff. So for the digital manipulation class, it was new for a lot of people besides me. I knew what I was doing. Like at that point, I had an intermediate proficiency at like Photoshop and stuff. So because of that, what Miss Smith did, and I bless her to this day, she, being like the academic that she is, she decided, okay, I'm gonna let you do independent study. So you either do this and be bored, or you could do independent study. I took the independent study. I was like, oh, I don't got to do what everybody else is doing because I'm already a rebel anyways. And I already know what I'm doing, because if I know what I'm doing and I'm a rebel, the first thing I'm gonna do is like, I don't need to be here. That's just how my mentality is. Because of that, I took the independent study. I was like, I can study all day. Let's do this. Let's get this out the way. I'm here to get out anyways, right? I'm here to get in this school and get out and get my diploma and just move on with my life. I started learning about photographers and influential people in like the photography world, because that's who she was giving me for the assignments, right? And it was independent. She just gave me the assignment, and you gotta, make a paper on them, which eventually would carry on when I went off to college and university, my community college and then my university. And because of that, she would give me people like Ansel Adams and others. I don't think, did she give me Doria Lange? Doretha Lange? I don't know how to say her name. I don't think she gave me Lange. She definitely gave me Ansel Adams though, and a few other people. And because of that, I got into photography. And I first, when I was younger, I thought photography was stupid. I thought it was like something that was just dumb. I was like, oh, they're just snapping pictures. It's so easy. That was such an ignorant mindset to have, because once I started studying about it, I realized just how involved it is and how artistic it is. And of course, that becomes something like I'm interested in as well. So while everybody else is doing digital manipulation, I'm not doing that for that entire time we had that class. I'm doing independent study on my own, right? And eventually what ended up happening is she had a Canon Rebel XT, 2004 Canon Rebel XT. She buys a new Rebel, doesn't need that anymore, so gives it to me. So once I get that, I'm just picture happy. Snap, right? Just taking it with me everywhere and just snapping pictures of everything and anything. And essentially, that's how I become a photographer. So Miss Smith and Mr. Francis, who's still my mentor. I still communicate with Miss Smith, but Mr. Francis, like my mentor, they were very influential in my lives, because they pretty much steered me to the path I'm at now. Because of that, I then go off to community college for digital media art, and then go off to university at like 25 for what was it? Bachelor of Fine Arts intermediate study. Oh, wait. Bachelor of Fine Arts intermediate. All right, let me get this right. Bachelor of Fine Arts of interdisciplinary studies with a film studies minor. And I eventually do that. Now, I did that not for a job as much as I wanted to increase my skill set. So after I finished high school, the second time, I took a year off, because getting all 120 credits in 2.5 years burnt me the fuck out. Like, I literally was there to get in and get out. I wasn't really there to make friends with anybody. I had an objective. When I have an objective, I accomplish that objective. And that was my objective, right? I did meet some people who are still my friends, are very close to me to this day. And obviously I met my mentor and Miss Smith, right? And obviously they set me on this path. So I was working at events and other things, thanks to Mr. Francis. So I was doing camera op the entire time, and then afterwards up until this day. So I'm proficient with many camera platforms and other stuff, right? But I was burnt the fuck out. So I took a year off, then went to community college part-time, and that's when I realized, hey, this ain't really for me. This whole work in retail, blah, 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 blah stuff. I talk about that in one of the job videos I previously made. So I go to community college full-time my last semester, and then take myself off the university, because I'm like, it's time to really make a change with myself. Like, I'm proficient at this stuff. I know what I'm doing, but living in Trenton is kind of dead end. I feel like I've maximized as much as I can do here. I need to go somewhere else where I could really grow and evolve. And I had a lot of people around me at the time, like bus drivers I would talk to, taking home mainly on the 608, co-workers at retail, and even my mentor was saying like, yo, Trenton will always be here, because I would always talk to them. So you always talk about how you want to do more, like go after it. You know, they would tell me that, just go after it. This is going nowhere. Go after it. So I eventually went after it. Boom, here we are now. Very proficient in this. Like here's my, I mean, this is like long into the video, so I don't know if anybody's even going to see this, but you know, here's my Instagram. Haven't really uploaded photos in a minute because I've kind of taken a step back. I already talked about how I came back to my family and they just hadn't really changed, but I thought, you know what, I'm in a better position in life. I can, you know, show y'all the way that we could do things as a team, and I just kind of took advantage of it, mainly my mom, right? So I then just worked my ass off, and after a while it was like I just need to do a reset, and here I am in the car. We already hashed that. That's not really the important topic right now, but that's the Instagram, man. You know, I've taken probably well over 20,000 photos, like just in general. Not all of them are great or whatnot, but you know, I failed. I've learned through trial and error and studying. Like I'm very much a student of this. Same with video. I'm a student of this. I've worked for companies on the more smaller to medium size, not on the not say professional, but we're not on like the Forbes list. I haven't worked with anybody on the Forbes list, but I worked with medium companies and smaller companies, you know, doing work for them, as well as, you know, I just study this shit nonstop. And so that's what I do for money. Like I could do photo shoots, video work and anything, and just freelance doing that. But I've taken a step back at the moment because, you know, the whole life reset thing, and just wanted to like get myself back in a more stable mindset, as well as get my body back. As well as get my body back physically. So that's essentially who I am. In fact, when I record my more higher quality videos, they are recorded on the, that was a baby wipe my face off because it gets sweaty in here. This is like my 5th take, but nobody knows that. If you made it this far, thank you for watching this far. But anyways, my higher quality videos, like the van life video, is recorded on this. This is my Panasonic G85 with a Canon EF lens attached to it, 24 to 70 millimeters, and a Photo C adapter because the Panasonic G85 is a micro four thirds, and this, like I said, is an EF lens. There's no way to attach the two without an adapter. My main camera that I use, so I started with the Rebel XT, and then I moved on to, I started buying lenses for the Rebel XT. So I first bought a Rokinon 70 to 200. That's somewhere in storage. I haven't seen that one forever because it's in a box somewhere. Then I eventually got a Canon. I started with that. Then I got a Nifty 50, which I still use. And then I got a Canon 70 to 200 millimeter lens. An L lens, and then after that I finally upgraded to the Canon the Canon 5D Mark IV. Like I said, I'm stuttering. Unfortunately, this baby's bricked right now. Something happened to it. Don't really know what happened to it. I theorize that it has something to do with the battery compartment because I was having issues with that, and there's a little switch in there that causes that if it's not depressed, it's not going to generate any power. And I fixed it before, but now it's just not working. So I don't know if it's shorted or something. I have to send it in Canon, but I haven't really been working. You know, I haven't really been like doing photo shoots or anything. That's just a personal decision. So there's really no need for me to send it in. Everything I've been doing lately right now is with my baby, you know, my other baby. I've been doing all video work, video related things, because that's like where my focus is at the moment, even though we'll get back into photos more pretty soon. But that's basically who I am, and that's a little synopsis of my background. So now let's get into the channel and this stuff, right? Because with this channel, when I finally started to take it more seriously, I decided that I am going to like start with telling my story. And the idea of that came from one of the Juneteenth events that we had in Trenton. So, you know, it wasn't a Juneteenth event. It was something before that. And I had my camera and I would just record, like take pictures of downtown Trenton as well as recording because I had both my cameras on me. And that's when the 5D worked. And ran into this guy who I would see at other events. And he was like drunk this day. And he was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just taking snaps of Trenton, like trying to find the story of Trenton and blah, 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 the way to tell it. Because nobody really talks about Trenton, New Jersey. It's kind of, you know, a dying town and stuff. And through this convo, he gave me drunk wisdom. And something actually made sense. He was like, before telling somebody else's story, he's like, what's your story? And I couldn't really answer that question. I was like, I don't know. I don't know what my story is, right? I have no idea. And for whatever reason, like that just resonated with me. Like, I don't know what my story is. I really don't. How can I tell my story? I have no idea. So I made like several attempts in the past, going from like, I think like 2009 or whatnot, not in 2009, 2019 and stuff on here, but I was more busy with life. And once again, I wasn't really sure what I was doing. So I would like try a little stuff, like try a little like narration things. I tried to like, I was going to try to do like a little like radio style, I guess, channel, kind of like what I'm doing right here, but with my better microphone that I have. Right, it's a USB microphone. It's not an XLR one, but it's better quality. It's obviously because it's bigger than this, right? And it was affordable and yada yada yada. And I used it for like just other things. But I made like attempts doing that and other stuff, but it was never really a priority. Never really a priority. So once, you know, I had the event that happened where I was like, you know, I'm done. I'm not helping the fam no more. I'm done with y'all. I'm done with this. I'm done with everything. You know what? I'm just going to live out the car. Fuck it. Right? That was really the decision making. Like, I just need a break from it all. And I started living out the car and stuff. I decided, you know what? While I'm doing this, let's document my journey. Let's use this as an opportunity to learn how to tell my story. And then eventually, you know, progress into talking about other things. And then sooner or later, I can get into, you know, speaking about other things I like media, sports, gaming, politics. I don't really like politics, but I'm very informed in politics. And that's essentially what I'm doing now. Right? I've learned how to tell my story. Obviously, I tell my story. It hasn't been the most consistent of processes because I got caught up with working and then I got fat and I was like, you know what, I'm going to lose the weight because then I started focusing more on working out and blah, 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 blah. And I have documented some of that. So eventually I will be dropping a video going through my transformation process. Unfortunately, it's mainly me in portrait mode. So, you know, it is what it is that way. And I've got to figure out how to make that work narratively, but that's what I've been doing. And as I've gotten more bills out the way and stuff, I've actively decided, and that's important, to be more consistent with this process, just this whole experience, because this isn't always going to be me telling my story, but it's a great starting point. I know where I want to go end game wise. I've been on where I want to go end game wise. My end game is my own production studio and my own production company. All right. Channel wise, my end game, or at least my mid game, is, you know, to be sizable, which I will get there, and to then be able to do other things high quality, like this car I'm in. When I'm eventually not in it anymore, no, when I eventually go back to living normally, this car is getting transformed. I'm transforming it into a sleeper. I have a V6 2GR and we're going to be upgrading it and yada, yada, yada. Like, using my art skills, I already have, I've been slowly on the side when I'm free designing this car in Autodesk Maya, you know, just working on the basic shape of it. So then I can start customizing it the way I want, since it's a 2012 Camry XLE. Yeah, there's really nothing that exists on there on the internet wise of like just websites that have, like, you know, the ability to customize cars, because if you're into cars, and I'm very much into cars, I know how to turn a wrench. I used to be part of a go-kart race team. There's websites where if you want to customize your car, like change your paint and put different tires on it, especially if you're into tires, you're going to do all that. I guess that's what we're going to use. They usually have their own little interface, but for a car like this one, nobody really has that. So I've had to do it myself. And since I like challenges, turning this car into a sleeper that go vroom vroom and whatnot is a nice challenge that, even though it's expensive, you only live once. But all that's down the line. Right now, the goal is to get this even bigger, grow this channel more, turn nothing into something and turn something into something great. And I'm gonna keep at it. Now, like I said, this video is probably not going to do well. It doesn't really relate to people much and stuff. If you made it this far, thank you, seriously, because I don't expect one person to make it this far, but that's part of being consistent. Like when you work out, there are days you don't want to work out. Like I'm going to the gym after this. I don't really want to work out, but I'm back into football. My football team kind of just folded. I joined them late because I'm a big dude, and when I wanted to see where I was, because I'm going to be playing in spring, but they kind of folded. So I'm back to training. But the one game I did play, it was great. It was a good experience, but I'm not really going to talk about that. Like I said, we're going to stay on topic. But the point is like consistency. You got to be consistent. So that's where we're at. That's like a brief synopsis of my story, what I'm doing, where I'm going with the channel and things. And, I'll see y'all in the next one. If you made it this far, hey, I thank you for watching this far. Like I said, this isn't one of the more interesting videos, but this is something I could pin on my main channel now. Well, not my main channel. Like when someone hits on my profile and I go in the video section, I can pin that for now until, I do something better. If YouTube still allows you to pin, I don't even know anymore. But this channel's been around since 2006, so there's been a lot of changes and things that I've been here for, and I've been monetized for a while now. So I don't know. In fact, actually, no, let me finish on that. I have been monetized for a while. And since the channel was a dumping ground, I've had videos do big before, so I know I could do it again. The thing is, I wasn't interested in the stuff I previously uploaded. Like, I wasn't interested in being a hockey YouTuber or being somebody who makes like funny videos all the time, because I have a lot of interests. Like the one video I made, which was so stupid. Such a dumb video. I might as well put this in, right? There was a guy called Tech Rex. I don't know if he's still on YouTube now, but he would, for whatever reason, like fucking torture roaches and other stuff. Like he would just make videos like, covering roaches in like molten aluminum. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you, my guy? I was like, what's your problem? So I saw that one time, and thanks to my mentor, I a lot of times would have cameras with me, right? So I have my own little lights and stuff, and I see a Tech Rex video of him like just torturing some roaches, like just covering them stuff and killing them. I'm like, right, well, what's this man's problem? And I have a bunch of gummy bears. So I have gummy bears, I have a camcorder sitting in its case, and a metal aluminum. I have a metal tray that you put into the oven, and I just put multiple things together, and I was like, fuck it. Just made a video right on this spot. Like this is it right here. I'll include it.
What's up, guys? And it's the Black Tech Rex here. We're going to be taking that and we're going to be drowning a nice innocent family of gummy bears. Who probably have their own hopes and dreams and aspirations. Get the fuck out that bed. And we're just going to be drowning them.
No, just little dumb things like that. But it was never really my interest in making those things permanently. I very much like what I'm doing now. I'm comfortable in front of the camera. I'm comfortable talking, and I look forward to making these videos. So, like I said, we're going to go from here and just continue going. Going to just ride this train out, see where it goes. And that's it. Now, that's the video. Catch you on the next one. And as always, deuces.